Wyoming Governor Mark Gordon recently vetoed a bill that would have repealed most of the gun-free zones in the state. His argument was that the bill would then put the state in the business of micromanaging a constitutional right. And while I can see the logic, I don't know if I necessarily agree with it, as gun-free zones are already micromanaging that right. Instead, he said that businesses and institutions should decide on their own whether or not to repeal their policies. And to his credit, he warned that if they don't, another similar bill could pass in the future. Surprisingly, it seems like one of the state's hospital systems is actually taking that to heart and is considering getting rid of their gun ban. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. A hospital system is one of the last places that I'd expect to repeal their gun-free zone policy, so I am pleasantly surprised. I'm even more surprised as it's not entirely because the governor's pseudo-threat, it's because one of the clinics recently had a violent incident and realized they had no one with guns to protect them. But before I get into all of the details, here is a word about today's sponsor. This video is brought to you by American Hartford Gold. Now, I am a firm believer in diversifying against inflation, currency wars, failing banks, and what seems like ever-increasing threats of civil war brought on by government tyranny. That might be things like food and ammo, but it also includes precious metals. American Hartford Gold gives folks all kinds of options, from gold, silver, and platinum bars and coins delivered to your doorstep to the ability to invest them in a retirement account like an IRA or 401k. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, have a 5-star consumer satisfaction rating across multiple platforms, and are ranked as the #1 gold company in the country. And if you ever find yourself in a bind and need to sell, they also offer a buyback commitment, so there's really no reason not to invest. And if you tell them that I sent you, they will give you up to $15,000 of free silver on your first order. And to make it extra convenient, there are 3 ways to get your hookup. You can click the link in the description, call the number right here on your screen, or text the word DOLL, that's DOLL, to 65532. Again, that is the word DOLL, DOLL, to 65532. And now, back to the show. In regards to Campbell County Health, the Gillette News Record initially paints it as a decision based on the looming potential that gun-free zones could be rolled back in the future. Their current policies require signage at all CCH facilities demarcating them as gun-free and weapon-free zones. But that signage obviously didn't stop someone from bringing in a knife to a psychiatry office, threatening employees, and bypassing security measures. Color me surprised. It also didn't stop another patient from bringing a knife to a walk-in clinic and threatening employees there either. Again, the shocked look on my face. Though, at least in that situation, the patient ultimately hurt themselves rather than employees or other patients, but still not great. In both cases, employees and doctors alike on the trustee board said that they realized that they had no means to protect themselves, their staff, or other patients while waiting for the police to arrive, which is the #1 reason to carry a firearm. Both incidents were brought to the board and used to support a new discussion on what to do about the gun-free policy. I feel safer with people who know how to use guns, one doctor told the outlet. I'd rather have people who are well-trained, and I would not want to work in a zone where I know that I have no protection until the police got there.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
The CEO says that they'll be getting input from all levels of the organization before making any decisions, and the issue was brought up at a hospital board retreat last week. The topic was also brought up by the Wyoming Hospital Association president, who believes that even though the bill was vetoed this time around, it's likely to get presented and passed through the legislature again in 2025 based on how much backlash there was against the governor's veto. It's kind of interesting that some of the changes being tossed around include keeping behavioral health areas as gun-free zones, which on one level, I get. I was a therapist for over a decade and spent time with an agency, a nonprofit, and in private practice. All of those settings, except when I opened my own practice, were gun-free. Even when I was required to go into the homes of gang members, go into the projects where there were regular gang shootings and drive-bys, I was supposed to remain unprotected. Even when I was there in the dark. Spoiler alert, I did not follow through on that policy. And while, of course, doctors don't want their patients coming in with guns and don't want any in the room while therapy is happening, I can tell you for a fact, I still saw some Glocks in my office, and when I was barricaded in my office by an angry drug addict who was actively psychotic, it was not fun having to wait for security to arrive. At all. So I see both sides. And personally, I am always going to err on the side of self-protection. It's also interesting that one of the places where these incidents have occurred in this hospital system is the behavioral health clinic. I doubt that we will see a policy that allows all employees to carry at work or even allow armed visitors, but maybe it would at least allow legal gun owners to keep their guns on them in some of the hospital's unsecured locations or offer some storage options. It's definitely clear that current policy isn't protecting anyone and isn't stopping anyone. Signs are, after all, just signs. I mean, don't rat yourself out in the comments because you know the ATF is watching these videos. But how many of you folks carry regardless of signage? And even though I kind of ratted myself out earlier, but that was a past job and I don't even live in that state anymore. Either way, people only find out if you need to use it, and if you need to use it, disobeying a sign is the least of your worries. Not encouraging illegal behavior here, YouTube powers that be, or naughty ATF man. Just commenting on the facts of life. Either way, it's refreshing to see a healthcare system looking at their policies and realizing that there might be an issue. It's also refreshing to see trustees and board members in favor of allowing gun owners to legally carry, at least somewhere on their campuses, and recognizing that gun-free zones make the people within those zones sitting ducks. All right, folks, that is it for this video. Remember, please do all the algorithm things, comment for the algorithm, but don't write yourself down in the comments unless you are talking about Minecraft. You can talk about all of your activities in Minecraft. That was supposed to be a wink, not an eye twitch. I can't wink. Anyways, thanks for tuning in as always, and happy shooting.